to the Hoggin the Mic podcast. I am your host, Will Kalasa, and we are here with Miss Murawski. She was my junior high teacher at Mary Immaculate School in 7th and 8th grade. So Miss Murawski went to MIS, or Mary Immaculate. That's how I will be abbreviating it. And she has been working there for, I don't know how many years.
15 years.
15 years. So yeah, she's, truly a Mary Immaculate Mustang to the bone. So I will kind of let her introduce herself a little bit further, let her fill in the cracks. So go ahead.
My name is Kimberly Murawski. I have been at Mary Immaculate for 15 years. I went to Mary Immaculate for kindergarten through 8th grade. And then right after I got out of college at A&M, I went straight to teaching at Mary Immaculate. My first year I taught in 5th grade, then 6th grade, and then have been in junior high ever since. I got to teach Will in 7th and 8th grade and had him obviously in class, but also in student council and things. So really enjoyed getting him in the years that he was there.
Awesome. Okay, so that was actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about that you touched on for a second there was with student council. How long was that? Because that was I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was like a fairly new, like student council wasn't around for too long before I was part of that. Is that true?
Right, that's true. Because
Okay.
I started it, I don't remember when,
Okay, I thought so.
but not too long before you were in it for sure.
Why do you feel like did you feel like there's a need for a student voice within the school, or was that just kind of something like, I think this would be nice to, get their input, or did you feel like there's a big need for it, or was it just a kind of an offhand idea?
Honestly, the principal came to me and he said, I think we should have a student council. He said, will you start it? So that's pretty much how that happened. And I was happy to
Gotcha.
do it because I like doing stuff with extra things with the kids and such. So it wasn't a hard thing to say no to. I had no idea what I was doing when I was first starting because I was still a fairly new teacher and was just trying to figure things out. But it was because he asked me to do it. So I was like, all right, sure. And there we went.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I guess I remember student council mostly. Well, the big thing was student council was someone in charge of setting up the dances in
Mhm.
there are two, right? One in the fall, one in the spring.
Right.
Okay. Have there been any other areas that student council now has kind of taken over or created organically?
Yeah, each year the group kind of does different things. This year the student council has actually done quite a few things. They a couple years ago, father wanted a trunk or treat at the school, and so student council took that on. So we've done that for a few years, or
Okay.
at least 2 years. Um, the student council last year, I think, decided they wanted to get more involved with pre-K and kinder. It might have been a couple years ago. And so during their advisory or recess time, they go and read with the pre-K and the kinder classes. Um, they did this year, we did a like buster week. Sister wanted to do something to get kids to stop using filler words. And so
Gotcha.
they did a music video and they made posters and did all sorts of things to help with that. Um, they help in some years they've helped with service projects and things. But the dances are definitely one of the bigger events that they do each year.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And then yeah, the other big event that I know we went through was the creation of the mascot for
Mhm.
MIS. With we were putting the poll together to see of the three names which one that the students liked best, and it was Flash, Stampede, I think was the second one,
Yeah.
and Moses.
Hmm.
And I don't know if this was 2016 or 17. I think it was 2016. I don't remember. No, I think it was my 8th grade year. But I don't know if you know this, but I came up with the name Moses. And at the time, being 13 or 14 years old or however I was, that strictly came from a YouTuber that I watched and his NBA 2K series. It was like it was looking back, I think it's so funny that that was an option.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I would share that because that should have been shot down immediately, but somehow it made it to the final ballot. So
Yeah, whatever.
um cool. So like I said, and you said as well, you went to Mary Immaculate for kinder through eighth grade.
Mhm.
Was there something about your time there that um made it to where as soon as you got out of college you wanted to go back and teach?
I don't know if it was that I definitely wanted to go back there and teach. I definitely have like I love the place. It's such a great place. I mean, I obviously being there for 9 years, I made it was such a family when I was there. And it's not even that I hang out with many people from when I went to there, but it was what I needed at the time. Um, I had some years when I was in school that I mean, I lost a sister while I was at school, and you just had the support and the community and all of those things that were always there. It felt like a good place to come home to. When I graduated college, well, my master's in 2009, and I knew I needed a job. So my first interview I got was with my mom was still subbing at Mary Mac, and I think she forced the principal maybe to look at my application. But either way, Miss Russell at the time, she had me in, and I interviewed with her. And I also interviewed with a public school. Like, so I was kind of open. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But then when Mary Immaculate was the first one that offered the job, it was an easy yes. I knew that that would be a good place for me. Um, so, it's yeah. So it wasn't a definite when I came out of, but I knew it was a place that I would be interested in looking at for sure.
Very cool. So I guess to kind of zoom out a little bit more, what do you, I don't know how to say this without, like, what do you like about teaching? Because whenever anyone asks, like when I was younger and they're like, well, do you want to be a teacher? Like that was like one of the first things where I was like, no, I, that just, especially younger kids, like, I know, seventh and eighth grade is the oldest of the bunch there, but like, what is, what do you like about teaching? There's got to be something that I'm not seeing, right?
I I actually wanted to be a teacher for as long as I can remember. So I remember weirdly, because I don't have a lot of memories when I was real little, but I remember in first grade looking up at Mrs. Baldacci, who was my teacher at the time, and being like, man, I want to do that. Um, Apparently I had some moments where I thought librarian. So I don't know. That's my siblings tell me that. I don't remember that. But I kind of always wanted to be a teacher. So I think we played school at home a lot, that kind of
Okay.
thing. So
Yeah,
um my mom was a teacher. So it was what I knew. It was what I saw.
gotcha.
My dad was disappointed because he was an engineer and I loved math. So he thought that should be my route, but it's
Yeah.
not what I chose. But teaching really it's hard. It's definitely and man, COVID and all of that made it, so much harder, but it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely challenging, but getting to hang out with, and a lot of people would think it's crazy, but getting to hang out with schoolers all day, um, and getting to have conversations with kids and help them, when you're teaching math, which is unfortunately not everybody's favorite subject, you get kids that are like, oh, I get it now, and
Yeah.
they like are really learning and growing and figuring things out, and maybe not hating it as much after being in my class. Um, it
Yeah.
makes it feel like it's worth it. So yeah, it's definitely brings about its challenges. Years are better than others. There's definitely been moments that I'm like, oh, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? But those moments are not near as many as the moments that I'm really glad that I'm doing what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. Um, so like you said, you're constantly with you're around these kids for so many hours a day and hours a week. And I think that connection that you are able to make is abundantly clear. Is that something that you are consciously making an effort to make that connection, or are you more focused on, making sure that they're learning the content and um, you've just kind of been blessed to have that connection passively created?
I think there's some of both. I think that having conversations with kids and such is what makes the job more enjoyable, right? So I could just go in and teach and just do that and not work on building relationships and such. But that just wouldn't be natural or anything like that. But also there is definitely tension behind it because if you can't connect with the kids, then especially with math being such a topic that not many kids love, if you can't connect with the kids, you can't get them to buy in. And if you can get kids to want to come to your class, even if it's not what they want to learn, they might pay attention a little more.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's definitely intentional. I mean, I go to kids' games on the weekends. I do things like that because I want them to know that I care more about just than their grades. And I think that's
Mhm.
important. And I mean, it helps that parents see that too, that they know if I have to send home that email that their kid's not doing well, it's not coming from a place of, I'm just disappointing your kid. It's, I care about your kid. I want them to be better.
Yeah.
I want them to be successful.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was another thing that I remembered from being a student was seeing you at a lot of the basketball games, volleyball games, uh, baseball games, everything. Um, how much of that? Okay, I guess are you doing that mostly just to like you said, show that like you care about these kids outside of the classroom, or I guess how much of that is I just want to see a volleyball game today because I know you coach volleyball.
Mhm.
And are you still coaching in volleyball as
I
well?
didn't this year. This is the first year I didn't. They
Okay.
need to coach this year, but I have coached every other year. So
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Because you are a big sports fan. I know
I
at
am.
least
Yeah.
before you would always go to opening day for the Rangers, correct?
Yes.
You
Haven't done that
still
since COVID, unfortunately, but
ah, okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
I do. I love going to the games. That is something that I really do enjoy.
mhm.
However, I could go to a lot of different sporting events. I choose to go to the kids' events.
Yeah.
So sorry, I have that you might be able to hear. Um,
No problem.
but yeah, I love going to the sporting events. But I like it because I do enjoy seeing the kids.
Mhm.
I could go to Rangers games, I could go to Mavericks games, but I choose to go to their games.
Yeah.
Easily, it's across the street, it's easy to go to, but yeah, to just do sporting events. So if kids are in shows and things like that, I've definitely been to other things than just sports.
Yeah.
But I also love that too. I'm a
Mhm.
person, that kind of thing. So kids that are in other things are that's fun for me too.
Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite Mary Immaculate athlete that you enjoyed watching?
Well, of course, Will Colassa. I mean,
I
obvious.
that wasn't even what I was going for, but I'll take it. I mean, uh,
There's lots of ones that have been entertaining for many different reasons, for
yeah.
sure.
I will say personally, I loved watching Caden Cunanan on Henry's team.
Yes.
He was
Hmm.
incredible. And also
Agreed.
Jacqueline Silva. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I kept her stats one year when
I
she was
yes,
destroying the league.
yes.
That was very fun.
Oh,
I
yes. And both great kids too, which was a bonus.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you said you've been teaching for 15 years now.
Yes.
What is the biggest change in teaching that you've seen? Obviously, like you said, uh, we are in 2024, so if we go back 15 years, that would be 2009 was when you started.
Yes.
We've gone through the COVID-19 pandemic. That was probably a big shift. So,
Hmm.
um, I'm guessing that that is probably the biggest change in teaching. But any other, major changes that you've noticed over the years?
Well, probably one of the most challenging things is not, I mean, and they had 15 years ago, but it's gotten more and more the kids on social media with phones and things
Mhm.
like that. That's just become, it brings more struggles in the classroom,
Yeah.
whether that means that they're expecting things to move faster because when you're always looking at, screens and things like that, that things are entertaining all the time. Or it's just dealing with more emotions from the kids because you can't ever get away from everybody because you're always connected. Um, and then, you just parent involvement has changed too over the years, both good and bad. You have um, just different expectations of the kids, different expectations of the parent. But I think a lot of it is, the attachment to phones and such
Mhm.
has definitely shifted that a little bit in some positive ways too, because there's some things that they can do and you can expect them to be able to get information quicker, things like that. Um, no kid can say, oh, I can't, like I do. I do fantasy sports and math,
Mhm.
and the kids at this point cannot say, "Oh, I can't get the statistics for doing the games," because
Yeah.
there's no kid that doesn't have access to everything.
Uh,
Um, and it very easy access to it.
yeah.
Um, and obviously in 2009 that was there, they could still do that too, but it's just definitely made things, that's changed things. And even what we have access to at school, that they've, because they know that technology is such a thing, or internet, and social media, all of those things is some of the things that we do in class and stuff. We have to consider those things and how can we tie into the kids' interests
Yeah.
um, and use that to our advantage.
Very cool. Very cool. S with, you said like the social media is taking over and the just technology in general. Are you are you guys, or I guess, is MIS trying to incorporate that into the classrooms much? I think I was in fifth or sixth grade. Well, I guess I don't remember, but I remember in sometime in elementary or middle school, they started using the smart boards, and those
Mhm.
were like revolutionary. It was like, what? We have a
Mhm.
little. It's not just like a projector in the whiteboard. Like, have there been any more like technological um, advancements in the classroom that are making it easier or harder, possibly?
I think that a lot of stuff is still the same. Obviously, we've gotten improved boards and things like that to use. We have cards, we have iPad cards, so the kids, we can use those when we want to. But I also think our school has and it's a sometimes, it's a intentional effort to not overuse
Mhm.
because it's so much used once they leave the building. So there is sometimes that it's like use them for positive. Obviously, we use the True Touch, the screens, the smart boards. Um, Not smart boards, but the
Yeah.
technology. Um, and we use that a lot. We use those things. We for COVID, I mean, we had to get very well acquainted with using Teams, and so the kids all know how to turn in assignments on Teams and do all of that stuff. But we try not to overuse it,
Gotcha.
um, because we don't want that to be something that, I mean, some schools really pushed for it. One-to-one devices did all of that, and some of them we're hearing are pulling back now. Realize that that's not always the best route.
Gotcha.
Our sixth grade class does have one-to-one devices.
Okay.
They have a laptop cart per classroom that they for pretty regularly, but we haven't moved that to that in seventh and eighth grade. But um, yeah, so I think that there's some intention behind not overusing, but we
Mhm.
do try and pull it in. I know we have business program now, and our business teacher is constantly, using things because they're looking at the stock market and all that stuff. So we do try and pull it in when we can, but it's just yesterday we did not have internet at school, and it was a very interesting
Ah,
day because you take internet away from for me, it didn't affect my teaching. Couldn't do any grading, like posting grades or anything like
uh,
that. But I couldn't, it didn't affect my teaching. But some teachers, it was like, oh, I was going to pull in this video and I was going to do this. And
yeah.
it's interesting how much things have to change once you turn the
Mhm.
internet on. So,
Yeah. Very cool. Wow. Yeah, that's got to be tough with that. I can't imagine, at least now, having to teach without it.
mhm.
So, okay, I've been saving this question for a while, or, for 17 minutes or however long it's been. Who has been your favorite Colossa to teach, and why is it Henry?
Man, that's an unfair question because I'm pretty sure I remember getting a card from you in junior high saying I was your second favorite teacher.
Okay,
So I
we're
think that
here and you're trying to move it over here. Let's stay right here.
I also only got a song written Colossus for me. So that's a tough question.
You know,
But I really love so
without without me, he wouldn't have been able to record that because he was using my computer and my microphone.
he did give you credit for that. That is
Okay,
true. He
perfect.
did give you credit. But all three Colossus are pretty amazing kids. So I feel like thanking them, despite the fact that you were willing to do that with your teachers, I just don't feel right doing it.
Okay.
You are all great. And I know you're joking, obviously, but I really love all the Colossus. There's some families that you're just really sad when they leave.
Yeah,
Y'all's definitely one of them. It's
yeah.
fun to still, because your dad's still up there some, right, coaching. So
Yeah.
on occasion I get to see him and that's fun. But you are definitely a solid family. We are happy that you came to Immaculate for sure.
Okay, so on the flip side now, who is your least favorite of myself, Henry, and Sarah?
That is an unfair question.
I'm trying to extract all the information I can here.
Yeah, you've all got positives. That's I can't put it on camera. I can't have any of the bosses coming after me.
All right, well, I guess we can talk after then and figure that out. Um, well, awesome. I mean, is there anything else that you really wanted to hit on, or anything else that you wanted uh to broadcast here?
Not that I can think of, but people like you are why it is so rewarding to teach because you'll come back and say, "Oh, you inspired me," and things like that. And you don't hear that very often,
Yeah,
unfortunately. As teachers, especially middle school teachers, I think, first, second grade teachers are always telling them how much they love them.
yeah,
You don't get that in middle school,
yeah,
and not very often. So it's really nice to hear, and I love seeing kids when they graduated and gone on to do bigger and better things come back and see us. And so that's something I would love to for people to hear, not for me personally, but that when you get past your schooling years and such, it does mean a lot to teachers that you reach out to them and let them know how you're
yeah,
doing and that you remember them and that kind of thing. Because we have you for a year or two and you make a difference on our lives, and we hope that we've done something to get you where you want to be and such.
absolutely.
So it's really nice when you hear from kids that have graduated and moved on to different things.
Yeah, yeah, and I love my time at MIS. I try to whenever I see any of the teachers outside, or when I was well, I would pick up Henry or Sarah from school and try to have a little conversation with them. But yeah, I love
Mhm.
my time there, and that is absolutely because of you guys, the teachers, and all the faculty there. It was just like you said, it was a nice like family environment.
Mhm.
Always seeing the same faces every day was incredible, and absolutely you made an impact on me. That's why I asked you to be here today. And I just yeah, like I said, I love seeing you guys outside of class, and I know that like you said, middle school is definitely a often uh, forgotten time, or it's wanted to be a forgotten time
Yeah.
for a lot of kids,
Yes.
but definitely not on my end. So
That's good. And it's good
yeah,
to hear.
yeah, really appreciated you coming on today, and everything that you've done over the last, geez, 7 years of my life. I guess it's been now 8 years if you include seventh
Yeah.
grade. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you so much. I will probably see you again soon, hopefully on the Mary Immaculate basketball court.
For
But
sure. Yeah.
yeah, have a good one.
Thank you so much, Will.
Yeah.